xây tương thân tình trong đạo Phật, tùy khác màu nhưng một tôn sư. Hôm nay đây cùng nhau họp mặt, quyết noi theo đường Phật giáo Hoàng Dương.
Nam Mô Di Đà Phật. This is Sang Noi Sang Phật, and my name is Sekju Ung Tri. And today we have our guest Tai Ung Min here to discuss with us some Dharma or some of the teachings in Buddhism. And so today I kind of would want to talk to you about your view or your hold on kind of, there was kind of many acts of I guess terrorism, as you should say.
Yeah.
A lot of different people wanting to hurt others and bombings and such forth. And like, how do you think we should respond to this in terms of, like, obviously revenge in terms of the Buddhist way isn't the best answer, but how can we remedy this hate for others? How can we extend, compassion in the most hardest of times?
That is a very great question. The reason why that's a great question, because if you look on any news outlet right now, it might seem like the whole world is just at war with each other. Right? There's conflict within the U.S. There's conflict between two political parties. There's conflict between different states. There's conflict of who's the better president. There's conflict with this nation versus that nation, this religion versus that religion. And the more you read up on it, the more it becomes disheartening, because it feels like it's just the world is going into chaos. Right? But I firmly believe that right now, the world needs Buddhism more than ever. And your question is, how can we respond to these acts of terrorism? The Buddha said, hate cannot fight hate. You can only fight hate with love. Fire cannot be fought with fire. Fire can only be extinguished by water. Right? And so you can be saying, man, that's just a bunch of liberal stuff, like hippie doodle. It doesn't work that way. In reality, it does. Right? It does, because you might not see it at the very beginning. The reason why people hate each other right now, or there's so much conflict and strife, is because ignorance is on the rise. People have within their own eyes the wrong view. If I were to give you a pair of sunglasses that's all red lenses.
Yes.
And I'm wearing blue lenses, and I say the world is blue, and you're like, no, the world is red. Of course, we're going to have conflict with each other, because in front of our eyes, we're having the wrong view. Right? And so right now, ignorance is at an all-time high, greed is at an all-time high, and anger is at an all-time high. Greed, anger, and ignorance right now is at an all-time high because of people having the wrong views, right? And so, how can Buddhism come to change all that? It's when we come in and we share with them the fundamentals of Buddhism, learning how to live mindfully, and learning how to change that wrong view into right view. Right? Right view or right understanding leads to right thought. Right thought leads to right words or right speech. Right speech leads to right action. Right action leads to right livelihood. Right livelihood leads to right effort. Right effort leads to right concentration. Right? Right concentration leads to right mindfulness. And so when you have all that right views, it helps you change from inside out. Right? I inspire you to change because I became the change. I became the change, and then I inspire other people to become the change. Right? If all these things happen, and instead of me acting negatively and reacting negatively to all the wrong things, if I were to come out and act very positively, no matter if someone treats me wrong, I still show them care and compassion. I share with them the fundamentals of what they need to do to change their mindset from a negative to a positive. I'm only sharing my lifestyle, my experiences, and what I'm doing. I inspire them to change. And through one person, we change another person, another person, another person.
I kind of have a story I remember now from a video of a ex-KKK member. He was talking to this talk show host, and he was like, all my life I've been a very high-ranking member of the KKK, and all we would do was just have we would instill so much fear and harm into the African American community. And so there was this one man, the KKK Klansman, or the ex-KKK Klansman, heard about, and he was the leader of the African American group. And so he had all these ignorance, all these misconceptions about how he viewed this guy. He viewed him as this Black Panther kind of rifle-holding man. But as he went to his door, he knocked on it and he asked him, "Is this the leading?" He asked the door and he opened the door, and the African American member of his society came out, and he was actually just a pastor, a reverend. So he's like, "Oh, how do you do, Mr. ex-KK member?" Like, and he held his hand out, and the KK member shook his hand, and he, out of kindness, instinctively, this guy lives his whole life viewing the people of this race so bad, but as the reverend gave him a smile and his open hand, he instantly did a rule break and he touched his hand. And so that was the first instance, but then it brought on to actually the ex-KK Klansman burning down his whole church facility. And still this reverend was still very nice and very welcome. And the moment that the ex-KK Klansman became an ex was when they went to a restaurant. And when they went to the restaurant, he had all of his guys just standing there waiting for some sort of incitement. So they went like, "Hey, N-word, you don't deserve to eat here." And it's like, "We'll treat you the same way you're eating like chicken right now." And so the reverend took up his chicken and he kissed it. And as he kissed the chicken, everyone started laughing because the KKK Klansman looked like such a fool, inciting all this into the man. But it's only as the pastor showed throughout his whole entire career with him the loving kindness that high-ranking KKK Klansman became an ex-one. Yeah. And so that's actually a true story that kind of motivates anyone. Even if everything's being destroyed around you, you'll in this life you'll have the kind of upper hand. So everyone's views will change as you live a life of purity and truth and those kind of things. And if it motivates somebody else in terms of wanting to live positively, I hope they can just even browse their own Facebook feed if they have after this show and see, more of the likes are given towards people that have done good, Like there's many stories of people, who have themselves become weakened by like abuse from their father or something, but these children grow up and adopt kids, they adopt kids and they treat them as if they never had the childhood that they had. Yeah. So you treat things a little bit differently. I mean, some people will loathe and relish and want to be bitter and continually be in that negative cycle, but others are strong and they withhold from that negativity and they inspire. So like I don't know if it's genetic or some kind of circumstance, but hopefully if people can kind of remove that sense of cycle and momentum, and hopefully if they practice and be still and change themselves for the better. But I hope enough of the motivation is instilled there. It's all instilled, as you said, yourself. And for one more question, do you think ever is a time to not give forgiveness, or is it the most good thing that you can do as a Buddhist is more powerful than harming, destroying, is forgiveness? And if, the news today is, as you said, very dangerous and horrible, I hope another method is to just stop it, stop putting it on and watching and dieting on that kind of news, because as you diet that, you become that negative thing. And if you kind of tune out and just worry about yourself, like you can't be non-judgmental about what's going on, but kind of worry about what you can do to help others. Like there was a homeless man during a concert that happened, and this homeless man has a lot of fame now because he was helping on the people that was in that horrible bombing incident. And so I hope those more stories shed light than glorifying the negative people that cause a wreck and harmful based on, as you explained, ignorance. So when do you think, if there ever is a chance for wisdom and compassion to prevail, do you think it's within this generation, or do you think there will always be negative things cycling in and out?
Well, there was 3 questions that were being thrown at me right now. Yeah. And the first one you said, when is a good time for forgiveness? You should always practice forgiveness. Mm-hmm. It's because practicing forgiveness is not for the other person, but it's actually for you. The more you hang on to it, the more you hang on to the anger, it's like holding on to a hot burning coal. The hot burning coal that you hold on to only burns you more than it burns anyone else. Right? So you gotta learn how to let go. And don't care, understand whatever people do, based on the laws of cause and effect, they will reap the consequences of it. Right? So you holding on to that grudge, holding on to that anger, just holding on to it and not forgiving actually harms you more. Because that holding on to it leads to a habitual thinking of negativity. That habitual thinking of negativity leads to habitual words of negativity. The habitual words of negativity leads to habitual actions, right? And all of that becomes your lifestyle. It becomes who you are. And you next you know, you're so caught up on that whatever happened to you, it completely engulfs your life.
Wow.
And so you got to learn how to let go. But before we continue on, let's have the commercial break, and then we'll continue after these break. Thank you so much.
世疆吞併中咬墳，對黑謀應